everybody, it's Heidi Fang here with our Raiders beat writer Sam Gordon. We're going to break down what is going on with the Raiders after they came back from Atlanta off of a devastating loss for the team. I'm not even going to mention the score again, Sam, because I think all the fans listening have had enough of hearing the score of that game. But now we look ahead to Week 13. The Jets are just ahead of the Raiders. They are winless, but it's not anything to take lightly when you play any game in the NFL. So, Sam, let's talk about some of the guys that are making their way back for this team and what it might mean. We talked to Clelin Ferrell today. He's kind of starting to get some work back in. We're hearing about LaMarcus Joyner on his way back, Trent Brown. What does this mean for the team that some of these names are starting to come back into the mix?
Yeah, Heidi, I think it's huge. I mean, it's especially coming off of a loss like that, you want to put your best foot forward as best as possible, especially against a team like the New York Jets, who you're expected to beat. You don't want there to be any type of letdown. I'm sure those guys are anxious to get back on the field and contribute, and of course, understandably so. I mean, these guys are football players. They want to play. They want to compete. We know how good Clelin Ferrell's been, especially this season in the run game, stopping the run, and that is one thing. I mean, the Jets don't have a good offense by any means, but Frank Gore can still do some things at this stage of his career. You're going to want to have everybody you can possible to be available for that game. So I think it bodes well that those guys are coming back. But as we just saw on the practice report and on the injury report, there's still a lot of guys that are a little banged up that didn't practice today. So we're going to have to see throughout the week who's going to be available for sure. It looks like Trent Brown, according to John Gruden, he came back to practice today, did some individual work, not likely to play Sunday. But maybe down the stretch, that crucial stretch of games at the end of the season, he could be available, which bodes well for an offensive line, Heidi, that frankly I thought struggled for the first time this season on Sunday against Atlanta.
We've seen the Raiders be a good second-half team, a team that comes back, they regroup, but in this game they completely fell apart. So as they start to game plan for the Jets, what do you see that they might look at from this film and do differently against the Jets?
Yeah, I think you're probably gonna see a little bit more commitment to getting that passing game going. Just like the Atlanta, the Jets are atrocious against the pass, one of the bottom three teams in the league in pass defense. And I thought really against Atlanta, they were going to try and get Derek Carr going and get him in a rhythm with some quick passes, kind of the way he got going against Kansas City. And remember, Heidi, the running game in that Kansas City game on Sunday Night Football, the running game wasn't there that game for the Raiders either. So it's not like the Raiders need the run to get into their passing game. Of course, you'd always like that. But I expect them to try and get that passing game going and then work the run game around that. They really never found a balance on offense. And you could say part of that is due to some of the issues they had on all the offensive line. Part of that, of course, is just Derek Carr. Didn't play well. He had an abysmal performance, his worst performance of the season. So he's going to be better because you really can't play much worse than he played on Sunday. I expect the offensive line to be better, and it starts there. And then defensively, the Jets don't have a ton of firepower. If they're just sound and can have long possessions and make the Jets go the length of the field and put together drives, I think they're going to be in good standing to avenge the loss from last season. As we remember, it's kind of a similar time of the year where the Jets weren't very good last year either, and then uncorked a big performance against the Raiders last year. So the Raiders, they know that, look, just because the Jets are winless doesn't mean that they're not due at some point. They don't want it to be them next week. They understand how important this game is in the wild card standings, and they want to keep their playoff hopes alive.
100%. You talked about the injuries earlier, so I just kind of want to give a quick rundown of what we know. Some surprises, some not big surprises. I mean, Damon Arnett, we saw, have a moment there where he was hurt in the game, and then the officials removed him later, so he's did not participate. Nelson Aguilar, Jonathan Abram, Malik Collins went to IR, Denzel Good, Rodney Hudson, Maurice Hurst, and Gabe Jackson, Josh Jacobs, Nick Kwiatkowski. Those are all the guys that did not participate, only two of them being Rodney Hudson and Gabe Jackson, not injury-related, most likely like a vet day, pro day that they don't have to practice. But that is a lot of names just off the top, and that's just the ones who did not participate. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other players, a lot of offensive linemen here that were on limited practice as well. So those are going to be things that I think are the Raiders needing to get healthy. Someone who they are getting back, obviously, that we spoke to today, Clelin Ferrell. He talked about his path coming back from coronavirus. So let's hear from him now on what it's taken for him to get through this and face the adversity that came with it.
I don't think anybody, regardless of the fact, when you're not playing or practicing for 2 weeks, I was still working out on my own, but it's a difference in football shape. Like, my wind is still trying to get back, if you know what I mean. Okay, still a little tired on the field, still trying to get that back, but No, I'll be fine. I'll be fine for Sunday. I just get the extra conditioning. Get in with my strength conditioning coaches, so I'll be good.
That was Clelin Ferrell. Sam, what do you make of the struggles that he's went through with this and having to come back to play full speed in the NFL against the Jets on Sunday?
Well, I think that's just kind of 2020 and the coronavirus in a nutshell, right, Heidi? I mean, we know that there are some players that don't have any symptoms, or some athletes, or some people, and then there are some that face the full brunt of this virus. And it sounds like he faced the full brunt of the virus and is going to be counted on to come back and try and make as close to a full recovery as possible. It's good that he was back in the building today and back doing some things, but I expect that, maybe you're going to want to have to rotate him in or play him on a limited basis or limit his snaps and be very conscious, because you don't want there to be any long-lasting effects with Clelin Ferrell. I mean, he's just, of course, from a human standpoint, we know how important he is just as a person. But on this team, he's a second-year guy. He's young. He's got his entire career ahead of him. You want to make sure that if there's any signs of, lingering effects, that they're going to want to be all over that.
And in the coming days, we will get you all up to date on everything happening with your Las Vegas Raiders. So make sure to download the Vegas Nation app. Check out vegasnation.com. Give Sam a follow at by Sam Gordon. I'm at Heidi Fang. And for Sam Gordon, I'm Heidi Fang. We'll be back with you later in the week.